what is AngularJS? So a lot of people kind of, ask questions about why would I use this framework if I'm using, MVC on my back end?
That was like the first question.
Yeah.
Why use this instead of MVC?
It's funny, and so it's one of those things you have to understand is that this is a JavaScript framework. It's client side, so you can structure your back end application, especially if you're doing things that is like getting data and having routes and things like that. You can structure that however you want. A good example of that is the mean stack, right? You have you're going to be using a database with Mongo. You have Express, which actually does kind of like your server framework, but you use Angular on the front end. And so the reason behind a lot of using Angular on the front end, especially if you're building out those kind of big applications, is that it gives you a lot of structure and it puts things in very specific places and allows you to work with developers quite easily, especially if you're working on a project that's not just yourself, not a single little page, but if it's a couple of people. And so it's really good for those kind of things. Now, what else is it? It's open source. It's maintained by Google. It's based on an MVC pattern. So you got the idea of there's going to be model where you put your data. There's going to be views. There's going to be controllers, right? So that kind of MVC pattern. Like for most frameworks, what it does is it abstracts out some of the common tasks that you need to be doing. And so some of the things that Angular does for you is it will do those tasks that kind of take you the most amount of time. Sometimes that's marshalling data back and forth from the view to the model. Sometimes it's DOM manipulation. Sometimes it's registering callbacks. All that kind of dirty work that you got to do to make sure that, you're showing stuff properly in HTML, but, adding behavior and things like that. It abstracts a lot of those common tasks out for you. So it does kind of it is opinionated in that way about how you should approach certain things. And almost all frameworks are, right? They have a very specific idea of how things should work, and they allow you to work within those constructs or extend them.